Okay, thanks. Had the volume turned down on that. Well, I thought you guys were gonna let me escape. I was in a business planning workshop today for 14 hours, and I thought I was gonna chill, but no, Luke has to provide a chart for evaluating. So we're gonna do that. Thanks a lot, Luke. Other guys, this is free chicken. This is an opportunity for you to get your charts examined in public, a chance for you to do some good work. And I would encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity. But I appreciate your courtesy and letting me slide tonight a little bit. All right, so what we got here, this is the Aussie dollar, and on the 24, 8 and hourly. And remember, Luke is looking at the 5-minute charts. And what we've got is, if you will recall, last week, if I remember, we were looking at the Aussie was testing this double top right here. And the question was whether or not it could actually break out. And if it could, how high could it go? And I think the answer was, oh, well, it can go that high up here, not quite to the edge of the dragon. Am I remembering that correctly, Luke? I think you're in here tonight. Or is he not in here? No, he's not in here. Sorry. So I'm in the chat room. Yeah. So anyway, this was that breakout from the top. And what I want you to notice is when that limit was acting as a resistance until when it finally breaks through, that thing rockets to the north. On the 5 minutes, you can just see this Kata 2 form here with Kata 2s all the way up until it gets this runaway move to the upside. And what he's identifying is this nice tight band right here, that if it breaks out above, it's going to continue to go. If it fails, it comes back at least to here and then probably to here. And that's a solid trade frame. And that's everything we want to see, because we're seeing an abnormal move. Abnormal conditions in this case was an exceptional breakout from this previous trading range. You know, the previous trading range was this, the test was here, and then you get this large upward move. And now the question is, well, is this going to break through the upper limit? Is it going to get there and fail? Or is it going to fail right away? We don't know. So that's, and then if this fails, doesn't it come back into here? Yeah, probably. So the abnormal conditions is what creates the exceptionally good trading opportunity. And what that reminds me of is some notes from back when COVID was still new and exciting and horrible. And what I want to just go back and visit some of our wisdom from, 14 months ago. So this was a quick summary of our systems development beliefs and best practices. And this was after a year of adapting our systems through the COVID. As the markets and the sectors were adjusting and business cycles were changing. This was just a quick summary of the things that we held to be true. So that I want to start over here. The first one is the idea that you have a market and you're creating a rule set that's going to go and compete in that market to try to pull out money. And then we could say that when the market is favorable for that rule set, that you should have excellent performance, because we would say that the rules are aligned with the market. it's in season. This one represents a set of rules that are only partially aligned, meaning that the market is starting to move away from the rule set. And so performance may be good enough, but is starting to diminish when compared to the top one. And then here's a case where there is just, the market is not rewarding that rule set. In fact, the negative R might be the one, the other side of the trade might be the one. So we think of the rule sets as being a set of reliable procedures that respond very well to the market when it's in a particular condition, and that we want to get that alignment. You can think of that as system market alignment. And so if we have a set of rules, on a menu, and we're going to decide which ones to take, given the type of a market that we're in, we might see that as the market goes through cycles, the performance of that rule set might go through cycles as well. And so we could get some kind of sense of the seasonality of the market, that there might be some times when it is underperforming and then gets better and better and better until it's outperforming, then keeps rolling back. And we might get some idea of what the typical performance pattern of that rule set might be with respect to the market. So if the market has an oscillation and our performance has an oscillation, we'd like to understand that so that we can maybe get a sense of market condition as seen through the eyes of that particular lens. You can think now of the rule set being a pair of glasses that are trying to look, they're trying to, they're trying to take a look at the market and see, is this still a market that I can take advantage of? So we think of that changing performance through time with the word stationarity. Stationarity talks about what is the time performance profile of that market and rule set. How long does it stay in the zone? How quickly does it change to get out of the zone or back in the zone? What's the volatility of the alignment between the rule set and the market? That's what we mean by stationarity. And so that's like the volatility of volatility, the second derivative. And we want to know what is the path and the flow and frequency of that seasonality. And so charting your performance of a system or a rule set over time is essential to really understanding how your system is performing. Is it coming into season or coming out of season? What are those historical norms and the recent trends? So that if I have 5 systems, I can figure out as an asset allocator, my question is, how much money am I going to put on each one of those different rule sets? I'm hoping to have a set of diversified rules so that as the market goes through its volatility, that one or more of these systems comes into tune or comes into season. And so I can put a higher percentage on the systems that are in alignment with the market. And that's why I want to know the historical norms as well as where we currently are in light of the recent trends. Knowing the boundary conditions then simply means, under what conditions, as this thing starts to underperform, do I stop trading it? And then if it's horrible and it starts to get better, when do I start trading it again? And that's what we mean by boundary conditions. When has the market and system performance changed enough that I'm going to make a decision to change my asset allocation or my frequency? So now over onto this side, we're going to take a look at some of the system development ideas. And we would say, look, systems are aligned with particular market conditions. The market is so variable that to have one master system would be so complex, and probably to be any good in all of the markets, it's probably not brilliant in any of them because it has to be careful about hedging. So there would be so many lines of code and so many rules, it would be hard to unpack that and determine what you should do. So a better way to think about it is having modules or like golf clubs that, depending where you are on the course, you pick that club or this club to play. The ball landed here, so I'm going to play the club that lets me get it onto the green. So knowing where you are in the stationarity now of the market rule set allows you to pick the right club. That's what also we mean by different systems for different conditions. And then as market conditions change, so do system performances. And that gets back to the stationarity. And so we need asset allocation in order to decide which of those different rule sets we're going to put capital on in what blend. And that means that we want diversification among systems based on maybe the style or the time frame or different targets or market conditions, the length of the trade, as long as we can find some things that are least correlated. So no matter where the market goes in its path, that we should have some system somewhere that can trade it. And that means that we want to monitor and manage system performance. But to do that, you have to have stable rule sets so that what you're monitoring and what you're managing remains constant, and it's only the market that's changing your performance, that your system is being consistently applied so that you can know when you're reaching that boundary condition when you want to change your asset allocation. That's what we mean by needing to know system performance over time and condition. In my belief, you want to know what is the difference between normal and abnormal conditions. My belief is that I should look for abnormal conditions for setups and performance, because the abnormality is what puts the markets in flux and creates the greatest shorter term price changes. That abnormal conditions creates the volatility that then amplifies opportunity. Then we're going to need, in this approach, predictive indicators or things that give us an alert that we are approaching those boundary conditions, that we are approaching abnormal, so that we're not surprised by it, but we know it when we see it and we're ready to act. We need to know, what is the shape of the change? Is this a smooth and continuous performance, or is it discontinuous? Like, it was down here and then suddenly becomes great and then suddenly becomes horrible? Or is it a smooth, oscillating, evolving type of a flow that can be managed? And then what's the magnitude and frequency of that change? This leads us to that acronym VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Finally, we would say, when you're searching for ideas on how and what to trade, that you want to develop your systems before you need them. Like, you don't want to be content with the systems that you have, and then suddenly the market changes and you're caught flat-footed and have nothing left to do. That can cause you to scramble and try to create things under pressure. That's not good. So a way to do that is by cognitive mapping, by going through a process whereby you are identifying your system development beliefs and all the underlying beliefs of a particular system. You can see on a market map, hey, I've got this area covered and that area covered, but it may be I could have something over here at X and Y because I have gaps in my beliefs or in my coverage of the total market. So that's what we mean by using cognitive mapping of beliefs in order to uncover blind spots. Who's making money that we don't have a system for? We want diverse. So we're looking for things that allow us more diversification, that can be rapidly validated, and that hopefully shows some robustness, so that it's not just a sliver of goodness. Like every 15th month out of a decade, you're going to get a short window of opportunity for a unique system with 50 rules. Well, that's nuts. That's not robust. So we're looking for things that can apply to a relatively broad range of market conditions, so that we can stay in tune with it and manage it. We want to be able to apply creativity, which is the generation of new ideas of any type. We want to have innovation, meaning that we want to then qualify those ideas to see what their value is. And then we want to be able to have adaptive systems so that as the market changes, maybe we can adjust a parameter in order to stay tuned to that condition. Modular systems allow us to take pieces and parts, components of our systems, and maybe mix and match them in certain ways to create new systems. When we can synthesize our systems, we can actually create meta systems in which the total performance is the blended result of a number of synthesized subordinate tools. So we're getting the blended performance. And then finally, once we get those system ideas, we conduct enough of a back test in order to then conduct an out of sample test, to then conduct a forward trading test, and then scale that until we're up to production level. And then we are in the business of continuing to maintain our production systems by adding learning and adaptation to the routine maintenance. And that way, we hope to have a continuous set of tools that allow us to perform work no matter where the market wants to go. So that's what I wanted to remember about our excursion into beliefs about systems a while back. In that business planning workshop, one of the things that I was using as an example, they asked me, for an example of the kind of work that we do. And so without giving away the farm, if I'm being honest, I told them about our approach to systems thinking, which looks something like this. This is a course that I'm migrating from talent management system over to Rizuku. We are now on our permanent site, and I've updated the links for access to those courses for all new students. The old links will continue to work for about another 6 months. So everybody that's in the sound of my voice should be able to finish those up by then. So this is my approach to applied systems thinking for traders. What I do is go through the basics of systems thinking 101. I show how a river ecosystem is a wonderful way to understand systems through the water cycle. And then systems for traders to structure your daily execution and your preparation process. That's a process map. A system for learning in a systematic way. I show why the multi-time frame, multi-lens analysis is a systematic approach to developing an understanding of key price levels. The use of systems thinking to compare choices. How to map our internal states as a internal system of mental state management. The Vroom-Yetton situational decision model is a way to construct qualitative and quantitative rules that help guide us on how to pick the right strategy for making decisions based on the complexity of the situation. Integrated frame-based trading is a systems thinking approach to trading ranges and trade framing, and so on, all the way down through this course. Because I consider this foundational, I'm making it available at a unbelievable price, because I actually teach a graduate school course in systems thinking for business, where students pay that much for the same exact course. So if you're a good person, you would vote and put pressure on your representatives to forgive student debt. My general thought is that a trader needs to trade going forward, obviously, but there are a number of supporting cognitive skills that are very useful. Like you want to be creative. You want to be a critical thinker. You want to understand process improvement so that you can refine the systems you use to create value, which means you need to be a systems thinker. I think you need true storytelling in order to figure out how to create trustworthy mastermind groups that will be excellent and amazing for you. And I believe you need to do protreptic coaching, which is a style of coaching that comes to us from the ancient Greeks that is an inquiry into values at your level. It's non-denominational, doesn't try to prescribe values, but it is a systematic process that allows you to uncover the values that matter to you and why they matter and how they got anchored to you. And that will help you discover and tell your true stories, which helps you become effective and useful in the world to others in collaboration. Systems thinking is just universally a good idea. Process thinking is how you do process improvement to make incremental changes using the principles of lean. Creative thinking to generate new ideas. Critical thinking to evaluate them, to look for value. And then I would almost think of entrepreneurial thinking as a way to go from an idea all the way up the production line till you get to full production. So my intention is to have courses for all of these as foundational ones, in addition to the technical elements of trading that you see me doing in the foundations and the trading courses in different timeframes. So anyway, that's the pitch for tonight. That's the pitch on what I think is good quality systems thinking for traders, and how to be effective with that in all dimensions of your life. Okay. All right. So that's everything I got for tonight. And I'll get this published and posted, and we will be ready for tomorrow. And fireworks coming tomorrow. Take good care.